Well, the huge news from Christ, this came out, I think, Friday.
Yeah.
I learned it while looking at Twitter in my car while driving to a job.
Yeah.
Because I'm safe.
I got you.
He is opting out of his contract with the Heat and returning to Cleveland, to the Cavaliers, to the Factory of Sadness. That is what we call Cleveland.
Okay.
To hopefully bring them a championship.
Because he's a good player.
He's the best currently.
Oh, okay.
There's no one. That's it.
So what's the stink about? Like, even if he left and he was, like, peed on somebody's Wheaties or whatever, like, don't they want to win games? Isn't that what the sport is about, winning?
Well.
So why wouldn't you just sacrifice that or whatever bad blood there was or whatever and just be like, high five, we got the best back? You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. I can field all of your questions.
Oh, good.
So I believe LeBron comes out of high school. He's drafted number 1 overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's out of Akron, Ohio, which I think is like about as far as we are in Chantilly from D.C.
Which is
itself.
not far.
Yeah, 45 minutes with a little traffic.
Yeah.
And he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's kicking ass. They can never build a great team around him.
Yeah.
He is carrying this on his shoulders. And the coaching sucks. He's got Mike Brown, who's bounced around the league. Like, he looked like a great coach when he had LeBron.
Yeah.
I would look like an okay coach with LeBron.
Yeah.
I would be like, all right, guys, come to the sideline. You're going to get the ball to LeBron.
Right.
And if someone wants to take it from him, just stop that from happening. All right, on 3, team.
But isn't that what they did with Jordan?
No, Jordan, as unstoppable as Jordan was.
I mean, hasn't he been MVP wasn't he like 100 years or something?
Well, Jordan had his 6 finals victories, so he's got the 6 rings. But Jordan...
Oh, is that all? You said it very... please, don't put him on a pedestal.
I think because every nerd boy can jack it, to the year and a half where he was out of the league, that was, in the middle of his 2 3-peats.
Wasn't he, juggling, saving homeless, and playing baseball or something?
Well, he was like, I don't know, I'm kind of burned out on basketball, and then his old man was killed, and then he was like, I'm just going to be a White Sox. I'm going to be, one of the White Sox in their crappy farm league for, a year and a half. And, he's, 6'5".
Yeah.
So he's just got this strike zone that's, the size of a baby manatee.
Right.
And it just looked bizarre seeing a man that tall and lanky swing a bat. But Jordan, very clearly, I think his first few years, without a team built around him in Chicago, he didn't get it done. And then you saw eventually a team was built with him. Phil Jackson is coaching, and I think Pippen was always with him, or Pippen was year 2 or some crap.
They're close.
They got in different guys and built a team around Jordan that finally became this monster.
Yeah.
And everyone wanted that to happen in Cleveland back in 2010 when I think maybe was that his rookie contract that ran out? Yeah, it might have been his rookie contract that ran out in 2010. And it was is he going to return? And then maybe they'll get their act together and build around LeBron and he can finally give Cleveland, which hasn't had I don't know when Cleveland last had a professional sports championship of any sort. The Browns won the whole thing with Jim Brown, but before it was called the Super Bowl. And so, no one cares. It's so funny. They invent the Super Bowl.
Brown, automatically.
Yeah.
I don't think even any of our listeners know who he is.
Who, Jim Brown?
Yeah, come on.
Anyone into sports knows Jim Brown.
I mean, you know of him, but you don't really know him.
Well, I don't know him. I don't know LeBron either.
Yeah, but people know who's currently out there. Yeah.
Well, Jim Brown used to be the most unstoppable running back ever. That guy took eight 5'10" white dudes who would smoke during the half.
Yeah, because we looked
in
that
the
up
locker
one day.
room to take him down.
Yeah.
There's some great footage of that.
Yeah.
Look up people trying to bring down Jim Brown.
Okay.
But the Indians, Christ knows when they last won the World Series. I don't know either.
Yeah, it's not
It
good.
might have been when there was a Negro League. I'm not sure. It might go that deep. And everyone was like, oh, this kid's going to bring the championship to Cleveland. How great would that be? And instead, he's like, screw it. He very famously, he airs a special called The Decision on ESPN.
What?
Yeah, it was he made a primetime special in a boys and girls club in, I think, Akron, Ohio.
But what was it supposed to be?
Well, it was he's going to announce his decision. Am I returning to Cleveland? Am I going to one of these other teams?
Right.
And all the money, I think he thought it would be all good because all the money raised by it was going to the boys and girls clubs. And in this special at the end, he's like, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, which means I'm going to play for the Miami Heat. And everyone was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You made this big a special to break the heart of the Cleveland Cavaliers, of this city, this toilet city, which has nothing outside of you.
But I understand, too, like, because of that, there was, like, jersey burnings.
Oh, everyone was posting a YouTube video of them toasting their LeBron jersey, if they're in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I forget what blowhard sports writer did a book called The Whore of Akron. I just remember him being interviewed by Ron Bennington on Ron and Fez, and they just kept saying the title of the book, The Whore of Akron. I'm like, oh, God damn, really?
Yeah.
We're not a little over the top here, but people went nuts. And he went to Florida, to Miami, and they had like 4 NBA Finals appearances in 4 years of him there. And 2 championship wins. I'd call that a success by any stretch. And I guess this was the first year he could opt out of his Miami contract.
Okay. Because he's a free agent or whatever? That's what it is, or what? I mean, I don't really understand sports. So
okay, if you really sign a contract, I'm guessing the terms of his contract were like, okay, it's 4 years guaranteed. We have the 5th year in the contract for X amount.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's no contract.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 years set, 5th year option.
Yeah.
So he could have just demanded a new contract this year with Miami. He could have said, give me the 1 year, or maybe it was even a 2-year option. Give me the other 2 on the contract. I'll pick those up.
Yeah.
And then the third was like, hey, I'm out. I'm opting out like I can. And he went with that option because Dwayne Wade, who was the big cheese in Miami, has like dinosaur fossil knees.
Yeah.
He is 32. He is shot.
Yeah.
He's like porn star 32. He might as well be 50.
Right.
Like that dude, and he was the big allure coming down there. And I think that's what a lot of people criticize. They're like, LeBron James could have been the king, and instead he's coming down to what is unquestionably Dwayne Wade's team. That was the perception 4 years ago. And instead, I mean, in that time span, Dwayne Wade is just, that's where I wish we had a morning zoo slide whistle. He has gone to S.
Yeah.
He is done.
Yeah.
And I think LeBron was like, there's no more big 3. Like me and Chris Bosh, we could kind of play, but Dwayne Wade shot to hell.
Yeah.
I think he didn't play like half the season. Like that's what that's the beauty of basketball. You can rest a guy for virtually half the season.
Yeah.
And be like, we're just saving him for the postseason.
Yeah.
And he was shot by the time of the finals. Like that was enough to rejuvenate him for like 9 postseason games. And by the time the Spurs roll around, his knees are gone again. So I don't blame him for being like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I just think it was funny that he actually had that much in the way of ties to Cleveland to begin with, because it wasn't just the fans burning the jerseys.
Yeah.
Like Dan Gilbert, the owner, was like, he wrote a letter. It was very ad hominem, I think is the term I'm looking for. Like he really went after LeBron. Like he wasn't like, hey, this is business.
Yeah.
He wants to go and win. I guess we didn't build around him. He's like, F LeBron. That guy quit in the playoffs, and we all know it.
But that's the owner. Like before,
that's the owner. That's huge, though. Like an owner getting that pissy about it. I guess like he's this alpha male,
But that's not him now.
Everything
That
comes
was him
my
then.
way. That was him then. Yeah, in 2010, he writes this open letter to the city of Cleveland, and instead
Is
of
he
taking,
still the owner?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
That's what made this interesting.
Yeah.
And instead of taking the high road, he was like, LeBron, failed us in the postseason, and I cannot wait to build a winner here so that we can get a ring before LeBron ever does.
Oh.
The team has sucked without him.
Yeah.
LeBron comes back. I guess they made nice.
Yeah.
He was able to be like, hey, I guess we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
For me personally, to be a fly on the wall during that meeting, I would have pulled it out of my pants. And I would have been like, you don't have to blow me, but just kiss the nice round tip. Just a kiss.
I'm sure LeBron left there floating. Like, are my feet even touching the ground,
Oh, like Fred Flintstone about to bowl? Doing a little twinkle toes sound?
I'm just saying. But they showed a clip on the morning news. It's talking about just general morning news. And they showed these clips now from either another coach or another owner or a former coach or something, some kind of big wiggy guy, and they were saying, well, what is your take on this, and why do you think...
Ooh, and big wiggy.
I'm just saying, I don't follow sports, so I don't know who he is. But I'm sure that interview will just be looped and looped and looped, so everybody can see it. But anyhow, he said, I think there's going to be forgiveness, but he's not going to forget the owner.
How? The owner? The owner. He was the prong in all of this. LeBron.
I'm just saying the owner, it's either he's talking to, I thought maybe he was talking about the coach, but maybe he was talking about the owner. Like, you know what, we're going to put this, I'm sure he wants to make this water under the bridge and they're going to win some games.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
Obviously the owner does.
But he said he'll probably forgive him for what he's done, but he's not going to forget.
The owner should bathe his feet like the Pope does the hobos on Christmas Eve. Dan Gilbert should, whatever LeBron's kids want to do.
It's about winning, so why not just...
If they want to pony every day of the week for the rest of their lives, that's what Dan Gilbert owns LeBron.
That's right.
Owes. I'm an idiot. Yeah. I owe it to the listener to not assault them with the butchering of the English language. I just... It really is... It's funny to me that dude was such a dick about it, because LeBron did one thing wrong.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you're leaving Cleveland, and he completely thought that like it was cool to make a spectacle of it as long as the money went to a worthy cause.
Yeah.
And
but maybe
he just
because
we
don't know like the inside of it, maybe there's some underlying layers, and he really did want to stick it to them. Like in his mind, he felt like they earned it.
But everyone else in Cleveland was going to feel the FU of that.
Yeah.
I likened it to this.
But wasn't he young? So maybe he
was like 25, I guess, at the time, because he's 29 now.
Yeah.
If you're going to break up with a girl, you do not say...
Spread it all
out. And she thinks you might actually propose. She's thinking it's going one direction, and you're going to take it the other one.
Yeah.
You don't say, look, I have a very special thing to tell you.
We're going to go to a ball game.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it on the Jumbotron.
Exactly. I rented the Jumbotron. I have him playing your favorite song. And she's like, oh, my God, it's going to happen. And instead...
We have the children's choir.
You get down on one knee, and you take her by the hand.
And you're like...
And she's like, fanning herself.
And then you reach for Samantha's hand.
Yeah, and you go, I don't think this is working out, and I'm jumping to this. If you're going to dump her, just do it. Just do it.
Especially if you dump her for a train wreck. It's just
you're dumping her in this situation. You're dumping her for the sexier girl.
Yeah.
So don't rub her nose in it.
Yeah.
And that was really, I think, what annoyed people. Even me. I didn't have a dog in the race. Had he just said early on in free agency that summer, look, I'm leaving you guys. I don't know who I'm going with, but don't get your hopes up. I'm gone. People would have been crushed, but they would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
Instead, for like months, he's like, I don't know. I might be coming back. You can't tell. And then near the end of free agency, he's just like, I'm gone. Wait, you're Cleveland. You're the fat girl. You get taken to Fridays because you give head on the first date. That's all anyone loves you for.
Well, it's like you find that engagement ring in your boyfriend's coat pocket. And then he's like, I got a big surprise for you on Saturday.
But Dan Gilbert coming out like that was really immature. That's just some type A prick who's like, wah, I didn't get what I wanted. Wah. So they apparently talked it out, and he's like, look, he put out a press release this time, which is what everyone just wanted the first time. He's like, there's no specials, there's no press conferences.
Yeah.
I'm going back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I realize like my heart is in that area, and I want to build something special.
I saw him, he's like, you know what, my family's there, my heart's there, whatever.
Yeah. And Dan Gilbert, again, should rim the man. And I'm not saying that figuratively, metaphorically. He should rim him.
Yeah.
His franchise went from, I want to say, being worth between like $300 and $500 million. Let's say $500 million.
Yeah. LeBron
signs is already estimated over $1 billion.
Wow.
He made him $500 million. LeBron will get paid for, I think he has a 2-year contract at max years. So it's like 45-ish for 2 years. And that's because there's going to be a new collective bargaining agreement. And at that point, he can then sign a max contract for even more money than he could have now. And it's fascinating, man. It was a cool week in sports.